Hello everybody, welcome to the Analyst by Vajiram and Ravi dated 7th April 2026, where we will try to comprehensively analyze 7 articles in 2 different sections, along with your daily mains answer writing program. In the analysis part, we will first have a comprehensive discussion with respect to the recent Madurai court judgment awarding death penalty to 9 police personnel in the custodial death case. Then in the second article, we will have a discussion with respect to the rise in illegal sand mining reported across the country and its impact. Then in the prelims pointer section, we will have a discussion with respect to 5 different articles from the special perspective of your upcoming UPSC prelims 2026 exam along with the some value addition. Coming to the very first topic of today's discussion, imagine a situation where the agency which is responsible for protecting the lives of citizens becomes a cause for their death. Now this is not just an isolated incident, this is the brutal reality of custodial death in India. In this regard, we will see a Madurai court judgment which recently awarded death penalty to 9 police personnel in the Sathankulam custodial death case of 2020. Basically, what happened in 2020 during lockdown, a father and duo, they were brutally assaulted by police throughout the night. This led to the, first of all, they took the father to the police custody and they started beating them. When the son arrived there, he protested against this thing. They started beating the son also, that how dare you raise voice against the police personnel. So this incident led to the death of both father and son duo at that time, and now after 6 years the final judgment has been given by the Madurai district court, which said that this is a rarest of the rare cases which shows harsh brutality by the police personnel who were aware that because of their brutality and their torture these 2 people will die. Still they carried on throughout the night. So that's why they are given the death penalty in this rarest of the rare cases. Although there were 10 police personnel involved, 1 died during COVID times and 9 were alive, they were given death sentence now. Why this topic is important for us? This forms part of GS paper 2, governance, constitution and polity, and your fundamental rights. Because fundamental right of Article 21, it includes not just right to life, but to right to life with dignity. So dignity was not provided to these people in this case. It also forms part of GS paper 4, which talks about ethical dilemma, whether you have to enforce law and maintain human rights also at the same time. It talks about public service values, what attitude police personnel have towards the local people. Are they doing their work as per requirements or not? So it creates ethical dilemma. You can get this kind of case studies also. Clear? So today we will not see this as an isolated event, but we will see the larger context where this custodial death has become a governance, legal and ethical crisis within our country. Now, what is custodial death? First of all, we must know it refers to death of a person in police or judicial custody due to, the reason can be any, but if the person is dying in these places, either in police custody or in judicial custody, because of torture, assault, harassment by police, rape or molestation, negligence. Negligence means not providing, if somebody is having health condition, critical health condition, and they are not providing the treatment to that person. Suicide and medical denial. All these can be reasons for custodial death, but ultimately the source of it is the police brutality. Clear? So broadly there are 2 types of custodial deaths. One is police custody death during interrogation. This is the most controversial one. Generally police personnel, they pick up somebody for interrogation and you must have heard the term 3rd degree. They give 3rd degree to that person. That means they brutally torture that person to gain information from them. Sometimes the person is a criminal and sometimes there is an innocent person who goes through this brutality. So then you have judicial custody death. This happens largely in prison, because a person who goes in judicial custody, he stays in prison. A person who goes in police custody stays in the police station. There is a distinction between these 2. And then there are other custodies in the form of army and paramilitary, which are less talked about in this manner. So largely we have 2 types, police custody and judicial custody. Clear? Now, what is the current status and trend of judicial custody deaths in India? Now, the National Human Rights Commission report said that 2,739, more than 2,700 custodial deaths happened in India in the year 2024, which was an increase over 2023, which witnessed 2,400 deaths. So the number is increasing. Despite having technological surveillance, despite increasing in education level of people, despite having all the human rights knowledge, still we are facing a larger number of death in police custody. Now, Uttar Pradesh has recorded the highest number of custodial deaths, which is followed by Tamil Nadu, West Bengal, and Maharashtra. Okay, these are some of these states featuring in the top. Now, Global Torture Index 2025, it classifies India as a high-risk country for systemic torture. A lot of fugitives who go outside India, this is also one ground for them not to return back to India. They say, if I go back to India, the police will torture me. They will not treat me humanly in the prisons. So this is also one ground that, and other countries do understand, because see, these kind of reports, they paint the picture of India as a high-risk country in regard to police torture. So this also creates hurdles for us to bring back the economic, or you can say any other fugitive offenders. Clear? Now recently what happened in Parliament, there was a question regarding custodial deaths in 2026. So Home Minister, he said that 170 custodial deaths were reported across India in the first 74 days of 2026. This year alone, from 1st of Jan to 15th of March, we have witnessed 170 custodial deaths in this year. And Bihar was having the highest number, followed by Rajasthan. And Tamil Nadu, despite this case, despite now so severe punishments, although punishment was not given till now, Tamil Nadu reported 7 cases. But already these guys were held guilty in, I think, 2023, that because of custodial death, these deaths have occurred. Still, so many cases are reported in India. So this 170 cases have been reported in the first 74 days. This was the answer of our minister in Parliament. Clear? Now see, a lot of legal and constitutional provisions are there with regard to custodial death. First, we will see the constitutional provisions. Article 14, it says equality before law. Anybody and everybody, until they are proven guilty, they should be equal in the eyes of law enforcement agencies. So you cannot torture a person until he is proven guilty in the court of law. Clear? Then you have Article 20, Clause 3, which gives protection against self-incrimination. That means you cannot force somebody to give statement against his own self. He has right to stay quiet in police custody. Then Article 21 talks about right to life and dignity. This is the core violation in case of your custodial deaths. In Article 22, it says protection against arbitrary arrest. That means you cannot arbitrarily arrest anybody. You require proper documentation, warrants, and approvals to get somebody arrested. These custodial tortures, they are the direct assault on the rule of law of our country. See, directly your fundamental rights are being violated in case of custodial deaths. Now, there are certain, you can say, legal mechanisms also, which doesn't allow custodial death to happen. But still, despite having these legal provisions, we see the incidents of custodial death happening. For example, in the earlier IPC, we had section 330, 331, which talks about hurt to extract confession. Basically, to extract information, you are hurting somebody. It was a crime. And 302 talks about murder. If somebody has been proven guilty of custodial death, he will be charged under section 302. Now, these are also continued under the Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, and it penalizes those who intentionally cause hurt to extract confession, information, and other, or through any other violence measures included by the done by the police. Okay. Similarly, within your CRPC, you have safeguards against guidelines for arrest. Then you right to know grounds on which you are being arrested. Same guidelines are being followed in Bharatiya Nagrik Suraksha Sanhita, okay, the newer versions of the CRPC. It mandates that arrest and detention follows valid reason, proper documentation, and proper procedure should be followed in this case. Okay. If somebody does not follow, he can be charged by violating the law. Similarly, your Evidence Act, it says that confession to the police is inadmissible in the court of law. If police beats somebody and makes him forcibly give the confession, it is not valid in court of law. Clear? Same is also, you can say, continued in Bharatiya Saksha Adhiniyam. It invalidates confession made under threat, coercion, or promise. Now, police can threat somebody, they can beat somebody, they can force somebody to give confession, but the person might change his statement in the court of law. This can be easily done. So there are certain legal and constitutional measures to prevent custodial deaths. Still, they are happening. Now, why they are happening? We'll see some of the causes why they are happening. See, first is systematic and institutional pressures. There is high pressure for quick results over police personnels. They have to give quick results. The number of police personnel in India, they are also less. If you see the numbers required, you can say police personnel per lakh population. This is very low in India. So they are burdened. They are doing shifts in longer time frames. So police personnel are also burdened because of that stress these things happen. But that doesn't mean these cannot be justification for torturing anybody. Clear? So there is pressure for quick results, heavy crime burden is there, limited custody time, pressure to solve cases, push towards shortcuts like torture. Then you have weak training and lack of scientific methods. The training methods for police personals, they still lack the modern methods. You can see a lot of police personals, they are brutal in their thinking because they are not given proper sensitive training. Clear? Poor human rights training, reliance on physical coercion over modern forensic techniques. Then you have corruption and extortion, even done by the police personals. Sometimes they extort a lot of money from criminals in order to, let's say, sometimes just not to beat them. Clear? Violence used to extract bribes, intimidate a suspect, weak oversight, and powerful station control. Now, if you remember a film Who Killed Jessica, in that film, the police inspector said that I took 80 lakh rupees, 70 or 80 lakh rupees, just not to beat the guy Manu Sharma. This was the statement in that movie. So these movies are reflection of society, what is happening in the society. Clear? Then there are poor working conditions for police personnel, which cause a lot of stress to them. Long hours, stress, inadequate manpower, lack of resources contribute to frustration and aggression within the police personnel. So this is also one reason. We cannot ignore this aspect. Then there are personal misconduct and psychological factors. For example, sadism, anger, emotional breakdown, sexual exploitation by custodians lead to abuse. Clear? So there are multiple reasons. Then you have attitudinal and cultural factors in the form of belief in harsh force. Even in fact, if somebody is aware that this is a crime, but there are police persons who believe that this is the best way to extract information from the criminals. So there is a deep-rooted belief that physical force is the only effective way. Then you have political and social approval, political interference, societal expectation of tough action, and cultural acceptance to encourage violence. Now, if you remember, there are some of the cases where police kills a criminal. See, killing a criminal in open area, let's say, by saying that the criminal is trying to run away. Now, people celebrate these things. We have a culture where we accept these things. We do not, sometimes because of delay in justice, we believe that if police is giving punishment to somebody, that is correct. But it violates the rule of law. Once it is done for one reason, then it will be done for multiple other reasons also. Clear? So sometimes delay in justice also leads to these things, leads to acceptance within the public that this is fine. Clear? Then rewarding brutality in the form of quick results from third degree methods often lead to praise, normalizing, and rewarding brutality. So these are some of the causes which leads to this custodial violence. Now, apart from this, there are also historical perspective. The police system in India has been continued from the British era. Now, the Britishers were brutal against the Indians. The same system has been carried forward with minor changes. A systemic overhaul has not been done into the police system. Clear? Now, what are the institutional and judicial guidelines? We have seen the constitutional and legal frameworks with regard to custodial deaths. Now we'll see some of the judicial guidelines, what Supreme Court has said in this regard. Apart from Supreme Court, your National Human Rights Commission has also given guidelines in 1993 regarding mandatory reporting of custodial death within 24 hours. If some death has happened, so police has to report. They cannot hide it. There should be post-mortem, videography, and magisterial inquiry into this, and compensation and accountability has to be ensured. If somebody has died, they should be given the, or let's say even not even died, if somebody has been tortured and is found innocent, he should be given a compensation. Now, Supreme Court has also given, or you can say other courts, they have also given compensation to some people in this regard. So these cases now we have seen. Then here DK Basu guidelines, or you can say in that DK Basu versus State of West Bengal case 1997, it was said certain guidelines were laid down that you should have an arrest memo. A family notification should be given. That means while arresting someone, you have to give notification, or you can say you have to notify some family member of that particular person. There should be medical examination of that person in every 24 hours. A legal counsel access should be given to the person so that he can talk to his lawyer. Mandatory diary entries should be maintained, and custodian record should be there, and there should be SOPs, standard operating procedures, against the torture. Clear? However, these guidelines are not properly followed. Similarly, in the Prakash Singh case, now Prakash Singh is a retired IPS officer who works a lot for the police reforms. Now, in this case, in 2006, he gave a proposal that there should be a separation of investigation and law and order wing of the police. Now, Police Complaints Authority has to be created, which should be an independent authority which can listen to the cases against the police, and they can independently investigate if any police excess has been done against any person. Not only for custodial death, if police has done some wrongdoing outside on the roads, then also you can complain in this police complaint authority. This should be state-wise. In every state, in every district, there should be a police complaint authority. Clear? Structural police reforms have to be brought in, which was said by Prakash Singh. Then you have Nambi Narayanan versus C.B. Matthew and others case, where Supreme Court awarded compensation for the immense humiliation caused by wrongful arrest and harassment, underscoring the severe psychological harm of custodial abuse and false prosecution. That means if you are arresting somebody, see, a person earns respect throughout his life, and it takes just one incident to throw away that reputation, to malign his image. So Supreme Court said if you have arrested somebody with false perception and if you humiliated them in public, you have to give compensation to that person. Again, it underlines the importance of accountability. Clear? And then in Paramveer Singh Saini versus Baljit Singh case in 2020, there was again guidelines given by court that mandatory installation of CCTV cameras should be there in police station, NIA, CBI and other law enforcement offices, so that an oversight can be created over what is doing. But see, frankly, just putting CCTVs is not the only solution, because there are dark spots somewhere or the other which are not in the sight of cameras. Brutality can happen at those places. So there are other measures also required in the form of audio recording, night vision cameras and proper storage of these records. Then there should be mandatory state and district level oversight committees. Clear? These were some of the judicial guidelines given by Supreme Court and other high courts in various different cases. However, unfortunately, these are not followed properly. Now, government has taken some of the measures. It's not as if government is not doing anything. They have taken some reforms, but still they are not enough. Reforms in the form of mandatory CCTV implementation following Supreme Court directives. But these CCTV cameras have not been installed everywhere. CCTVs are not fully functional across all the states. These are some of the challenges still remaining. There is smart policing model, which talks about ethical and technology-driven policing, but still it is more on paper than on ground. Then you have Model Police Act of 2006. See, police is a state subject. Center laid down a Model Police Act which says that policing should be done in this regard. But then it depends upon the states how they learn from this Model Act and implement it into their states. Then you have prison reforms through Mullah Committee and Krishna Iyer Committee. See, prison reforms have been done in the way that, let's say, in Tihar jail, which is among the first of the prisons to have reforms, a lot of sports are being played within Tihar jail so that people do recreational activities and they leave the crime. Basically, the purpose of prison is to reform the person, not just to punish them, but to reform them so that once they come out of the jail, they are a good citizen. There are music societies, paintings being done. There are bakeries to make food within the jails. A lot of facilities are provided to make sure that the people, they change themselves. But if somebody misuses these things, he does not change, they are kept in isolation. No facilities then provided to those people. Then you have fast-track courts for custodial crimes, forensic-based investigation. It is being improved day after day, and human rights sensitization is taking place within police training. But more needs to be done because a lot of challenges still pertain in the form of police complaint authority. They still remain weak. They are not working independently. No dedicated torture prevention law. A torture prevention law is not there in our country. A dedicated torture prevention law. See, this law is required for international obligations also. We'll see them later on. Your high under trial population in prisons. That under trials are the person who are kept in prison without the final judgment. That means still their case is going on, and their case is going on from years. Still they are in jail. They have not been awarded final penalty. Sometimes it might happen a person is innocent and he spends 10, 20, 30 years in jail despite being innocent. So that under trial population is somewhere around 70% in Indian jails. Clear? Overcrowded and poorly equipped prisons, which leads to fightings and other issues. Then political interference within policing, staff shortage and stressful working conditions. As we discussed, that police personnel sometimes they do not have any holiday, proper holiday. They are working on festivals also. They do not have a fixed time to come to their home, and they can be again called back at any time. Then you have inadequate forensic infrastructure. Let's say the kind of forensic infrastructure which CBI is having, it is not there with the state police. Clear? Now we will see some of the reforms and way forwards, what can be done to improve the situation. First is legal reforms. Enact an anti-torture law. A proper anti-torture law is required. It is also said by Law Commission in its 273rd report. See, while writing anything, if you quote these law commissions and other reports, they provide credibility to your answer. Okay? So as per the Law Commission, there should be a proper anti-torture law. India has signed the United Nations Convention Against Torture in 1997, but still we have not ratified it. So we have signed it, but not ratified it. That means we wanted to ratify this policy. That's why we had intention to sign. But one of the conditions for ratifying this anti-torture convention is that you should have a proper anti-torture law in your country. But India is lacking that law. That's why we cannot ratify this convention. So we need to ratify this. Then we need police reforms in the form of implement Prakashing reforms. He has suggested 7 major reforms. They have to be implemented on ground. There should be a separate investigation wing from the law and order wing. The law and order wing should just focus on maintaining law and order within the society. The investigation wing will be specialized wing, which will look after investing the crimes, whatever being done. They will be having better forensic and better know-how. Then there should be body cameras and CCTVs in every police station. Then we require institutional reforms in the form of strengthening police complaint authority in every area, making them independent, providing them powers to act against the fellow police personnel. Independent investigation and upgrade prison infrastructure and healthcare within the prison. Even if somebody fall ill, if the police lets him stay like this, let him remain ill, it will again be a part of custodial death. Then technological measures we have seen, like mandatory CCTVs, digital custodial records. Proper digital records are there. If they can be accessible, they cannot be fudged by anybody. Then they will lead to better accountability. And body cameras we have seen. If you must have seen a lot of videos from US and Canada, the police persons there, they wear a body camera here. So everything, whatever they are talking, whatever they are doing, that gets recorded in the body cameras of police personnel. So in future, their accountability can be maintained. Then you have capacity build in the form of better training of police personnel, providing them more sensitive training. Okay. Forensic based investigation has to be improved. Then social measures in the form of legal awareness among the people. Sometimes if a police personnel hits somebody, the people just accept it. Okay, he's a police personnel, he can hit, but no, he cannot hit. You can take legal actions against that police personnel. Then you have civil society vigilance. Civil society has to be aware. They has to take stand for their rights. Clear? Then we also require some judicial reforms in the form of bail as the norm and jail as an exception. See, sometimes what happens, Supreme Court, High Court, they do not put anybody in jail. Largely, they provide bail at the first instance. If the person is not a high-risk criminal, they provide bail and the trial keeps on happening. After they are proven guilty, they are sent to jail. But a lot of lower courts, you can say district courts or other smaller courts, they put people in jail a lot. This is a trend which has been seen a lot of times. So when the same person again reapplies in High Court or Supreme Court, the Supreme Court says that okay, we are providing you bail, and they again direct the lower courts that do not put people in jail unnecessarily. Bail should be the norm. Normally, everyone who's going for bail, they should be given the bail. Unless this is an exception case, there is a high-risk criminal, then you put it in jail. So bail as the norm, jail as an exception. It will reduce under trial population. And also, we have to improve the judicial delays. A lot of delay happen, cases keep on pending for years. It leads to, again, trust deficit into the system. Now, what will be the significance of this Tamil Nadu case? This particular case where this is considered as rarest of the rare case. Now, why this is landmark? This is rare instance of death penalty for police officers. Now, giving death penalty to 9 police officers at one go, this is a very rare event. Normally, this does not happen. This will set the benchmark. Hopefully, there will be some deterrence after this. It recognizes custodial torture as rarest of the rare crime. Now it will strengthen the judicial accountability and it will create a deterrence against any future such act. Now, police personnel will think before doing this kind of activity. At least they will have some fear in their mind. that they can also be punished in future. Clear? So this is the role of this case. Hopefully it will create deterrence, and we shall see less number of custodial death cases in this year by the year ends. Clear? So that's it from the custodial death topic. Now you attempt this question that in the light of recent Satankulam case, critically examine the causes and of custodial violence in India and suggest institutional reforms to ensure accountability. Make sure you write this answer and show it to us. Coming to the second topic of today's discussion, it talks about rapid illegal sand mining, which is reported in and around the National Chambal Sanctuary, which is spread across Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan and Uttar Pradesh. This National Chambal Sanctuary lies at the tri-junction of these three states. Now, rivers are not just a channel of water. They represent an entire ecosystem. And what happens when you start extracting the very foundation of these rivers? The entire ecosystem dies off. Now, this is not just an environmental issue. This is a systemic failure which shows the governance issue, the organized crime and exploitation of common resources by the sand mafias. Now, why this topic is important for us? This is part of GS paper 3, environmental degradation in the form of riverbank erosion, loss of biodiversity. It is also part of disaster management in the form of risk of flash floods because of changing channel, changing the morphology of river. And it also forms an issue in internal security where the sand mafia highlights the challenge of organized crime within India and its link to the corruption. Clear? Now, this is a classic case where your economic gains are preferred over the environmental sustainability. First of all, we must understand what is illegal sand mining. Now, extraction of sand without authorization or beyond permissible limit, especially from terrestrial, riverine or any coastal or marine environment from anywhere. It can be from ponds, it can be from rivers or from coastal areas or from any land. It can be from anywhere. What are the different sources for it? It can be a riverbed, it can be flood plains of rivers, it can be any eco-sensitive zone where extraction of any material is not allowed, any coastal sand or sand from agriculture field which is extracted illegally. Now, these are the images of illegal sand mining where you can see hundreds of trucks every day carrying illegal sand and sending it to different places. Now, why this illegal sand mining is happening? What's the issue? Why it is happening? There is a demand-supply mismatch within India. Now, what is happening? Construction sector, it contributes 9% to the India's GDP. Yeah. The annual demand for sand is 700 million tons. 700 million tons is the annual demand. The legal supply is 400 million tons. That means there is still a deficit of 300 million tons. From where this deficit will be fulfilled? It will be fulfilled through illegal mining. Clear? The estimated value of sand mafia economy is 40 to 50,000 crores annually. Imagine this number. If this entire thing is regulated and some tax is taken by government over these illegal activities, that tax will be used for the development of our society. Right now, these illegal activities are going on. The entire money goes to the bureaucrats and politicians. Now, that money, if it is legalized, if it is done through legal channel, the money which should have come to the citizens is going just in the hands of these criminals along with the nexus having politicians and bureaucrats. Fine. So what are the major states and major rivers which are affected because of this illegal sand mining? In Uttar Pradesh, you have Yamuna, Ken, Betwa, Songanga. These are the major river basins. Their flood banks are being encroached. Illegal sand is extracted from their flood banks and exported to meet the demand, meet the construction demand of the entire North India. Then in Madhya Pradesh, you have Narmada, Chambal and Tapi rivers. Their banks are being encroached. And a lot of illegal sand mining happens in Madhya Pradesh because Madhya Pradesh produces more sand than its own consumption. So they export a lot of sand to nearby states. Then in Maharashtra, you have Godavari, Bhima. In Tamil Nadu, you have Velar, Kolar and Kaveri. In Bihar, you have Son, Gandak, Odisha, Brahmani, Mahanadi, and Haryana, Punjab, you have Yamuna, Satluj. Almost in every state, in every river, this encroachment is happening. Okay? So it not just damages the morphology, the channel of the river, it damages the entire ecosystem. For example, your National Chambal Sanctuary, it is a protected habitat for ghadials, for gangetic dolphins, and for different turtle species. Now, when this illegal sand mining happens in those places, these species do get affected. Their conservation efforts goes into vain. Clear? Now, why this illegal sand mining is happening despite having any legal and institutional framework within India? Within Constitution, we have Article 48A, which talks about environmental protection. It shows Directive Principle of State Policy, DPSP. 48A says we have to protect the environment. The state shall endeavor to protect and improve the environment. It can be in the form of rivers also. Then Article 21 talks about right to life and dignity. It says right to clean environment is a right within the right to life. So because of this illegal sand mining, our right to clean environment is being harmed. Clear? Then you have other laws and rules framed by the government. There are different laws mandating, or you can say looking after this illegal sand mining, but still it is happening. You have Mines and Minerals Development Regulation Act of 1957, which looks after minor minerals. It regulates mining activities. Minor minerals, sand is a part of minor mineral category. Sand is also a mineral. Clear? So state grants license in mining of legal sand. Then you have Environmental Protection Act of 1986. Under this, environmental clearance is required before mining at any place has to be done. Then you have Sustainable Sand Mining Guidelines, which came out in 2016, which talks about scientific mining practice, maintaining river flow and ecology. That you can mine within the river beds, but that mining has to be scientific. You have to make sure that the river flow and ecology is not disturbed. Clear? And then enforcement and monitoring guidelines for the sand mining in 2020. Basically, these were again guidelines which talked about use of technology in the form of drone monitoring, GPS tracking of trucks, and real-time monitoring through different cameras. However, there are gaps in these legal measures which lead to illegal mining. Now, there are some judicial interventions also regarding this. So, Deepak Kumar versus State of Haryana case in 2013, it made environmental clearance mandatory even for small mining. In Haryana, the region around Aravali's, that region also witnessed a lot of illegal mining in the form of stones. A lot of police personnel also die when they go against these miners. So these sand mafias, they even do not hesitate in firing, or you can say in crushing the police officers under their trucks. Clear? Then you have MC Mehta case, which was an older case. It again strengthened environmental governance and also talked about more better guidelines in any illegal encroachment or mining. Then you have NGT versus TN sand mining case in 2018, which talked about mandated, basically it said it mandated digital monitoring of sand transportation. That means that devices should be properly monitored, they should be GPS tracked and other things. These are the guidelines given by Supreme Court. Now, despite these legal frameworks and guidelines, there are multiple reasons which lead to illegal sand mining in India. Now, what are some of these reasons? There are structural causes. Structural causes in the form of rapid urbanization and soaring construction demand. That demand way exceeds the supply of your legal sand. Then you have high demand supply gap, lack of alternatives. There are alternatives in the form of manufactured sand. Basically, you crush the stones and you create artificial sand just like your original sand. Now, this artificial sand has better properties and better qualities as compared to the conventional sand, but still it is higher in price. The cost is high, that's why people prefer your normal conventional sand. There are institutional causes in the form of weak monitoring, fragmented regulation, and complex and slow mining approvals given by the government, because of which illegal mining is resorted by people. Fine. Then there are economic causes, for example, high profit margins in the case of illegal mining. You don't have to give any tax also. Low risk of punishment. There is a nexus between politicians, police, and mafias. They get easily, they evade police arrest. Then lack of affordable substitutes like manufacturing sand, we have already seen, and poverty and unemployment, where because of rising poverty in these areas, let's say if you consider the area of Chambal, this is a ravine area. This area is prone to high sand erosion. Vegetation is not, agriculture, vegetation, both are not easily possible in these areas. So people resort to working with the illegal miners on, let's say they get daily allowance in the form of small money and they work for them. Then there are political causes in the form of nexus between politicians and mafia, and they works as an organized crime. Clear? So these are some of the reasons for illegal sand mining in India. Now, what impact this illegal sand mining creates? The impact will be multifold. It will be on environment, it will be on humans, and multiple other things. First is your ecological impact. Now, ecological impact means you have riverbed deepening, water flow disruption, which leads to bank erosion and flash flood risk in the adjoining regions. Then you have groundwater depletion. Because of sand mining, the groundwater which should have been percolated in the ground it goes into the river because the channel has been deepened. It can absorb more water from the surrounding areas. And the classic case is Chambal, where it is a Ghadial nesting region which has been collapsed. The population of Ghadials is falling down, and dolphin breeding has also been disturbed in these regions. Then you have biodiversity loss apart from ecological. In ecology, there is harm to the environment. In biodiversity, there is harm to the wildlife species. You have habitat destruction and keystone species threat. For example, your dolphins and crocodiles. Clear? Then we have economic impact. Apart from environmental, we have economic impact in the form of revenue loss to state, black market expansion, and distorted legal mining. Okay? Distorted legal mining. Basically, because of these illegal minings, they are not regulated properly. They can charge any money from the normal people. So not only we are paying higher prices, but the government is also not receiving taxes. So there is a multifold impact. Then governance and law and order impact. There are organized sand mafias. They attack on officials. They kill a lot of forest officials also. A lot of police personnel are killed. Any local person, any activist, any journalist, if they raise voice against them, they are also killed. Okay, so it leads to law and order issue. Then social consequences in the form of livelihood loss and conflict, resource conflict. See, these are common resources. The common resources which belong to you and me. Some people are extracting our common resources. Now let's say somebody comes to your house and tomorrow says that this property is mine, I am taking. Will you raise voice against that or not? The same thing is happening with the illegal sand. The sand is also our property, everybody's property, common. But some people are extracting it, selling it, and taking all the money out of it. There are ethical concerns in the form of exploitation of resources and tragedy of commons, as we have seen. Clear? Now, ethical concerns will also lead in the form of dereliction of duty by the officials, which do not prevent these things. Clear? So these are some of the impacts. Impact will be on ecology, on biodiversity, economic impact, law and order impact, ethical impact, and social impact. These 6 different broad headings within impact. Then what are the way forward? What can we do in this regard? See, there should be policy measures in the form of strict enforcement of guidelines. There should be uniform national sand policy, a kind of model policy which central government can put forward and states can implement a similar kind of policy. Then you have to define sustainable extraction limits and natural replenishment cycle. That natural replenishment cycle means in what time the river can again erode and they can weather down material, they can transport and bring more sand to the lowlands. The mining has to be in, you can say, confluence with the river's carrying capacity or river's replenishment capacity. Then there are technological solutions in the form of satellite monitoring, AI-based tracking, and e-auction system of legal sand mining. Basically, you have to increase the ambit of legal sand mining. Legal sand mining. You have to increase this. Then institutional reforms in the form of strengthening district level task force, independent regulatory bodies. For example, if some NGO is working in this regard, you have to empower those NGOs, give them some power, give them some money, so that they can work on ground and they can make people aware, or at least they can report on such crimes. Clear? Then community participation in the form of involvement of gram panchayats for local monitoring and reporting. Then social audits should be mandated at every place. Now, what are the alternative materials which can be used here? Manufactured sand, its production has to be increased. Some kind of subsidy can also be provided in areas where a lot of illegal sand mining is happening. So to curb them, to put a pricing pressure over those illegal sand, we can reduce the price of manufacturing sand. Then it is produced by crushing stones. It is eco-friendly and cost-effective substitute as compared to the normal conventional sand. Then you have to recycle construction waste. See, in Delhi, what is happening, a lot of construction waste has to be put on a particular site. On that site, the Delhi Municipal Corporation is crushing the entire construction waste and again making bricks out of it. Basically, they are crushing the entire older waste, the concrete, the bricks and all those things. They are crushing them to small pieces, and again, by combining those pieces again, they are making new bricks, new blocks, which can be again used in construction. So they are sold in the market just like normal construction. So you have to use a lot of recycled construction waste. Use of fly ash, slag and other recycled material in construction to reduce sand dependency. So we have to focus on a lot of alternate materials. Then you have ethical governance where transparency, accountability and zero tolerance for nexus has to be improved. Anyone found guilty of these things, just like we have seen in the previous case where the Madurai court has set an example by giving death penalty to the people. Here also harsh punishment in the form of suspension, or you can say completely revoking the service. These things can be done against any bureaucrat or politician. They can be sent to jail to set an example over these nexus. Clear? So we have to understand that rivers are the soul of our civilization. Rivers are the soul of our civilization, and sand is their body. If the body turns hollow, how long can the soul survive? You can use these kind of things in the conclusion also when you have to write the answers. Clear? So this was illegal sand mining and some of the way forwards what can be done. Now what do you have to do? Write a question over illegal sand mining is in ecologically sensitive areas like Chambal Sanctuary pose a serious threat to biodiversity and river system. Examine this. Make sure you write this answer and practice it. Now coming to the prelims pointer section, the first article is regarding a report released by Comptroller and Auditor General of India on conservation and management of lakes. Now, why does CAG report on conservation of lakes? We'll see further on. Basically, this report says that 518 out of 697 lakes in Jammu and Kashmir, they have either vanished or they have shrunk. Now, what we have to remember in this prelims pointer section is regarding CAG. What CAG is? CAG is an important constitutional body which is directly relevant for our not only prelims and mains exam also. Now, CAG is a constitutional body or constitutional authority given under Article 148 to 151. Basically, Article 148 talks about appointment and independence of CAG. Article 149 talks about its duties and power. 150 talks about forms of accounts which they have to maintain, and 151 talks about audit reports which CAG does and submit to the president. Clear? Basically, if only we have to talk about one important article which is used for the formation of CAG, it is 148, the most important one. Their appointment is done by President of India under warrant, under hand and seal, and their tenure is for 6 years and 65 years of age, whichever is earlier. For example, if somebody has joined as CAG from 58 years, they will retire after 6 years in the 64 year of age. But if somebody has joined as a CAG in the age of 62, they can work as CAG for the next 3 years only, up to 65. So 6 years or 65 years, whichever comes earlier. The removal is done in the same manner as of Supreme Court judge by the Parliament. Basically, a committee, first you need to have a resolution passed to do the impeachment process. Then separately you have to create committees in both the houses. They investigate and find out whether the person is guilty or not. Then separately, by special majority, a resolution is passed for the removal of a judge. In similar manner, CAG is also removed. Now they have independence, and their independence of CAG as an office, it is safeguarded by some measures. For example, their salary is charged on the Consolidated Fund of India. That means it is voted directly by the Parliament. The executive, the ministers, they are not responsible for the salary of CAG. They are not eligible for further office. That means CAG cannot be employed again for any other government work. In that manner, they will not provide any favor to the government. Okay, this is assumed. Although they can still favor based upon their political considerations, but largely it is seen if somebody cannot get job again, so they will work independently. Then they functions as they audit union government, they audit state government accounts also. They audit PSUs, the government public sector undertakings, the companies and the government bodies. They ensure financial accountability of executives, basically the ministers, how they are spending money, whether they are spending effectively or not, whether there is financial irregularity or not. All these things they see. Their reports submit directly to the president in case of center and to the governor in case of states. Clear? And these reports are also examined by Public Account Committee. Basically, this Public Account Committee comprises members of your parliament. They also see the reports and examine the reports of CAG. What kind of reports are published or audited by the CAG? Basically, 3 kinds. They do financial audit, they do compliance audit, and performance audit. Financial audit looks after the money, how it is spent, whether it is proper or not. Compliance audit sees whether it has been spent as per the laws or not. And performance audit is like they measure the outcome. Whatever money you have spent, what outcome is generated out of it. Clear? Now, one concept you must know is that CAG is not a court. It only reports on various issues of government. It basically reports on various accounts. No enforcement power is there with the CAG. So you must be aware about the CAG. Now, why CAG report on conservation and management of lakes. This can be a question in your prelims. They can say that this particular report, they can name the report and say has been released by which of the organization. Then they can give option: CAG, Wildlife Institute of India, Ministry of Environment, NGT, whatever, some other water bodies, and then you'll be confused. You'll think like CAG to nahi hoga, but that will be wrong. So CAG has this report over lakes. Why? There are some key reasons. Then they were auditing the financial mismanagement regarding, they were highlighting the instances where funds were spent without achieving measurable improvement in lake health. That you have spent some money, let's say on a Ramsar site or any other wetland or any other water body for the revival, but still that money has been spent and there is no revival on the ground. So they were looking after these financial mismanagement. They were looking after administrative failure, pointing out fragmented governance where multiple departments failed to coordinate to protect a water body. They were looking after transparency and public oversight, reviewing the lack of community involvement and poor public disclosure by the authorities. Clear? And they were flagging ecological degradation and they were ensuring legal compliance. So all these were the issues because of which this report was carried out by CAG. Now coming to the exam trap, where how you can be trapped in prelims, they can say that CAG is a statutory body. Now this is wrong. CAG is a constitutional body. Constitutional body under Article 148. Clear? Now they are appointed by not Prime Minister. Comment down who appoints them. Then they can they directly punish officials. No, they are not court. They cannot punish directly. Reports are submitted to Parliament. Again, this is wrong. Reports are submitted to the President. The tenure is fixed as 5 years. This is again wrong. This is 6 years or 65 years, which is earlier. Salary is charged on the consolidated fund of state. Now this is correct. Yes, salary is charged, but not on the consolidated fund of state, but on the consolidated fund of India. What do you have to tell me? Tell me in the comment section under which article consolidated fund of India is given. Fine. Let's see your preparations, how it is going. So this was regarding CAG. Coming to the second topic of prelims pointer. Now this topic is regarding the use of syngas, or it is also called synthesis gas, synthetic gas, or by any other names, by the byproduct gas also. Basically, we are facing a natural gas or petroleum gas deficit in India. So Jindal Group says they are using syngas in furnaces for their work to continue. Basically, this syngas or synthetic gas is a clean burning fuel that offers a way to turn waste and biomass, basically anything which contains carbon, into a valuable energy, acting as circular energy resource. This is important for us with the perspective of economy and environment. Now, what is a syngas or a synthetic gas? You must know. It is known as synthesis gas, synthetic gas, or producer gas. There are different names for one same thing. Now, this is primarily a byproduct of gasification and the predominant byproduct of high temperature pyrolysis of any biomass, leftover, and garbage. Basically, all these things are having carbon within them. Now, what is pyrolysis? Pyrolysis means burning something in a controlled environment. By burning something in controlled environment, you do not completely exhaust that thing. Not complete combustion does not take place. You burn partially, the things get converted into gaseous form and then it is trapped and used somewhere else. Clear? And gasification is also the same process, converting something into gaseous form. For example, coal gasification is a major phenomenon which is used to produce this syngas, where coal along with water and oxygen, they are burnt in a controlled environment and coal then gets converted into gaseous form as syngas. Clear? Now the primary constituents of this syngas are carbon monoxide and nitrogen. These are the two main constituents. If let's say a question comes that syngas contains methane, this is wrong. Syngas contains ethane and butane, this is again wrong. Syngas contains carbon monoxide and your hydrogen as primary constituents. And what are the secondary constituents? CO2, methane, water vapor, nitrogen. They all are found within syngas in smaller quantities. Now, if it is filtered properly, CO2 can be removed. Yeah, when the burning happens at lower temperature, some methane is left in this gas. Now, water vapor are also can be removed easily, so they can be separated out by heating. Now, nitrogen is also found in this syngas if air is used in the process of pyrolysis or burning. Other than by not using your complete oxygen, if you're using air has majority of gases nitrogen in our atmosphere. So if you use normal air for combustion, it will include nitrogen also. If only oxygen is used in the process of burning and pyrolysis, there will be no nitrogen. So these are small traces. They are found in small trace as a trace elements within syngas, but all these four can be removed. These are the two major constituents of syngas: carbon monoxide and hydrogen. Clear? Now what is the production method? Basically your gasification of coal, biomass and municipal waste. Anything, as again I am saying, which is having carbon in it, can be burnt and converted into syngas. Steam reforming of natural gas to produce hydrogen. This also leads to production of synthetic gas. Basically, steam reforming of natural gas happens where natural gas is converted into syngas. Now, syngas has carbon monoxide and hydrogen. Then hydrogen is separated. If you want to form hydrogen out of natural gases, so steam reforming process is used. In that process, your before extracting hydrogen, syngases are also created. Clear? Now, what are its uses? Basically, because the syngas has half the energy density of natural gas, it may be burnt and utilized as fuel source. Although the energy provided by syngas is less than that of natural energy, but still it can do the same work, just like a natural energy, although its volume will be higher for the same work. Then production of methanol, ammonia and synthetic fuels can be done with this. The same syngas can also be used in production of fertilizers. Hydrogen jet production is also one of the application of the syngas, and power can also be generated by this syngas. Clear? Now within this, what are the primary feedstocks? Basically the material which we provide into the combustion chamber for production of this syngas. It can be produced from fossil fuels, from renewable biomass. It can be made from wide range of carbon containing material. Basically you put in coal, you put in oxygen and water within a chamber. Now this chamber has extreme conditions in the form of high pressure, high temperature from 700 to 1200 degrees Celsius, and corrosive slag, H2S gas, different gases for the chemical reactions to take place. Now ultimately you get syngas as hydrogen and carbon monoxide as primary constituents. Clear? Now byproducts are this, and after cleaning the gas you can get a synthetic gas in the form of a clean air. Fine. What are the other key processes? There is a Fischer-Tropsch process. Now this Fischer-Tropsch process, it converts syngas to liquid fuel. Now the syngas, in some places it cannot be used in a gaseous form. So through this process it gets converted into liquid form, and then liquid fuel is used. So this is also a scientific process which can be asked by UPSC. So you must know that Fischer-Tropsch process is not used to produce syngas. It is used to convert syngas into liquid form. Clear? It is used in coal to liquid technology, this Fischer-Tropsch process. Clear? Then there are environmental aspect, that this can be cleaner than direct coal burning. You convert coal through coal gasification into syngas. The syngas can be cleaned and it can be used as a cleaner source. Then it still emits CO2 unless carbon capture technology is used. Clear? So it has trace elements of CO2 within it. So the process we have seen. What will be the exam traps here? See, synthetic gas contains CO2 and methane mainly. So this statement will be wrong. What it contains? Instead of carbon dioxide, it contains carbon monoxide. And instead of methane, it contains hydrogen. Now it can be produced only from petroleum. This is wrong. It can be produced from any biomass. Clear? Used only for electricity generation. Again, this is multiple uses. Fischer-Tropsch convert crude oil to gas. Now this is wrong. It converts gas to liquid. Then syngas is pure hydrogen. Again, this is wrong. It has carbon monoxide also. Cannot be produced from biomass. Again, this is wrong. It can be easily produced from biomass. Clear? So do not fall into these traps. Now coming to the third topic of today's discussion, which is regarding the Piprahwa Relics, which will be which will be put on display in the Leh district for some time in the later half of this month. Basically, what this Piprahwa Relics are, these Piprahwa is a location near Indo-Nepal border in the Siddharthnagar district of Uttar Pradesh. Okay, Uttar Pradesh. Now, this is the site which is believed to be associated with ancient Kapilvastu, which was the homeland of Gautam Buddha. Kapilvastu was the kingdom. Gautam Buddha's father was the king of this region, Kapilvastu, and they belong to the Shakya tribe of that particular region. You must know this thing. Now, these Piprahwa relics. Now, relics are basically the you can say, old artifacts, or you can say the material, the bones, the ashes, the other things of Gautam Buddha. They are believed to be stored at this place. They were discovered for the first time in 1898 by a British, you can say, engineer, or Williams Claxton Pepe. William Claxton Pepe. And what was found? Basically, there was a stupa containing relics casket. Now, these are caskets, you can see in the diagram. These are bodies having the Buddha relics, or you can say storehouses of Buddha relics they are having. Now, they were having bone fragments believed to be of Gautam Buddha. These vessels, they contain bone fragments, ashes, and over 1800 offerings such as gold leaves, pearls, rubies, garnets, and finely carved ornaments. Basically, a lot of these precious stones were also present in these vessels, along with the, you can say, bones, ashes, and other relics of Buddha. They are, we can say, they are believed to be buried by the Shakya tribe, to which Gautam Buddha belonged in this particular place. Inscribed urns were there in the Brahmi script. Basically, inscribed urn means that over these vessels, something is written here, something is written here in the Brahmi script. So through this, we came to know who buried them, what it contains, what is the cultural importance of these vessels and these ornaments. Clear? So now, why this is in news, we have seen that what happened, that majority of these Piprahwa relics, they were stored in the Indian museums, but some amount of these, you can say, findings, these precious metals, stones, they were with the Pepe family. Now, this Pepe family, and this person died, but his family was having these for the long time. This family tried to auction these relics in Hong Kong, and which was halted by Indian government, the effort of Indian government and some CSR activities of Godrej Industries. They purchased these relics and brought back to India. They said this shows the cultural significance of India, and they stopped the auction, they purchased from them, and they brought it back to India. Clear? What is the historical significance of this site? This is linked to ancient city of Kapilvastu. One of the earliest Buddhist archaeological discoveries are these. The inscription which we have found from this place, this inscription is in Brahmi script, and one of the caskets links the relics directly to the Sakya clan, as we have seen. Okay? So there can be question that the inscription found at these places, they are in which language? They can say that Buddhism is also associated with Pali language, but they are in Pali language and Brahmi script. Now, the present status is that some relics are preserved in Indian museums and other in global institutions. These relics are also distributed in countries like Thailand, Sri Lanka, and some other Southeast Asian countries. Now, while most relics were handed to the Indian Museum in Kolkata in 1899, the descendants of British excavator Williams Clartex Pepe, they retained some relics. Clear? They retained some of them. So, these Piprahwa relics are of immense importance. And why are they being sent to display in Leh? Because the majority of the population in Leh is Buddhist. A lot of Buddhist propagation happened through Leh. It was spread to China and to Afghanistan region in the Western Asia and other places in East Asia through the routes from Ladakh. So, a majority of population in Ladakh, in Leh district, they are Buddhist. So, Buddhism has a lot of connection to Leh. Clear? So that's why they will be displayed in Leh for some time, and then again they will be kept back in the museum. Now they can ask, what is the location of Piprahwa? This particular place, Piprahwa, it is in near Indo-Nepal border in the Siddharthnagar district of UP. So this is not in Nepal. This is wrong. These discoveries were done in 20th century. Again, this is wrong. They were done in 19th century, in the exact year 1898. It is related to Jainism? No. To Buddhism? No inscription is found. This is again wrong. There is an inscription written in Brahmi script. They are associated with Mauryan Empire Ashoka directly. Now this is wrong. These scripts or these relics are even before Buddha. Okay? Yeah, they are not directly associated with Ashoka, Mauryan Empire King Ashoka. Clear? So these were the things. Rest you guys must have already studied about Buddhism. And what you need to study more, read about some of the links of Buddhism to the Leh and Ladakh. Clear? although Buddha directly did not go to those places, but a lot of Buddhist teachings were spread from that place. Now coming to the next topic, where we are having elections in the state of Tamil Nadu in some time, and in Puducherry, Stalin calls for full statehood for Puducherry. Now why this is important? Let's see about Puducherry. See, it is a UT with legislature, a union territory with legislature. Comment down, which is the other state, or you can say which are the other areas or UTs which are having legislation. Okay, there are adding 2 more UTs which are having legislation. Comment in the section below. Now this Puducherry, it has 4 geographically separated enclaves which together make up Puducherry. 4. Now it includes Yanam in Andhra Pradesh. It includes the exact area of Puducherry, which is the largest among the 4. Karaikal in around Tuticorin, and Mahe in the Kerala coast. These 4 different isolated geographical regions together constitute the UT of Puducherry. Now, some of you guys would have seen this information for the first time. So you must know this thing. It is the only UT with non-contiguous region, that means non-continuous region across 3 different states, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh and Kerala. They can also give you a question in prelims where they can ask which of the following states does not have any territory of Puducherry. Kerala, Karnataka, Andhra, Tamil Nadu. So Karnataka does not have. Clear? So its population is somewhere around 12 lakhs spread across these areas. 87% are Hindu. The literacy rate is higher than the country's average. It became a French colony possession in 1674, and almost for 3 centuries it remained French colony until it was legally given to Indian government in 1962. Clear? It was transferred to India in 16th August 1962. Now it was a French colony. You have to remember that it was not a British colony. A lot of fight happened here between the French and the Dutch. Later on, the fight also happened with the British. British did control the regions of Puducherry a lot of time, but they were again given back to the French. The official language of this place is Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, English and French. French is a cultural legacy, that's why it has also been continued. Now the administration, it is headed by Lieutenant Governor as it is in Delhi. Clear? However, let's see some of the constitutional and legal frameworks of Puducherry. First of all, it is governed under Article 239A. For Delhi, it is 239AA. Clear? You should know the distinction. It is introduced via the 14th Constitutional Amendment Act in 1962. It allows Parliament to create a legislature and Council of Ministers for Puducherry. Clear? 14th Constitutional Amendment Act 1992 provided for Puducherry. Under Article 239A. Then Government of UTs Act 1963. This law governs Puducherry's administration. Clear? Then the special status is given to Puducherry. Unlike Delhi, now Puducherry's legislature can make laws on all subjects in the state list. Now Delhi government cannot make laws on 3 specific subjects: your police, land and public order. This is, in fact, in Delhi also, Delhi police is under the central government. Most of the state policies are under state government, but Delhi police is directly administered by central government. Clear? However, the Puducherry has been given special status where they have powers in these 3 aspects also: police, land and public order. Clear? They can manage on their own. However, they are subject to the presidential assent and parliament's overriding powers. That means if the state legislature makes some law regarding public order, but the parliament again makes another law for Puducherry. So parliamentary law will override the state legislatures or UT legislatures law. Clear? Now with regard to economy and culture of Puducherry, it is largely a tourism hub where French architecture and beautiful beaches are there, for which a lot of tourists come. Meditation centers also in the form of Auroville is also situated in Puducherry. So a lot of people go there for recreational or meditational activities also. What you have to remember here is Puducherry is not a full-fledged state. There are demand for full-fledged state, but it is not given right now, and I do not see anything in near future why the government will give them full statehood status. All its regions are contiguous. Again, this is wrong. The regions are divided in 4 different areas in 3 states. Clear? It was a British colony. Again, wrong. It was a French colony. It has no legislature. Again, this is wrong. They have their own legislature, which is provided under Article 239A. Only Tamil is the official language. Again, this is wrong. Apart from Tamil, you have Telugu, Malayalam, English and French as the official languages. So these four are the main thing which you have to remember: Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu and Kerala. Within these three districts, or even three states, you have four different regions comprising together of Puducherry. Now coming to the last topic of today's discussion, this is regarding Nigeria. Again, this is regarding places in news where 26 people were killed in 3 separate attacks within Nigeria. Now, what we have to remember with regards to prelims pointer is that, see, any particular place, if it is in news, it is of importance to us. UPSC can ask that particular topic. Now, Nigeria is a country in West Africa. You can see this, West Africa. Now, it is not part of Central Africa, it is part of West Africa. Yeah, it is, you can say it is bounded by Niger in the north. This is Niger, Chad in the northeast, then Cameroon in the east, and Benin. See, this is a smaller country, Benin in the west. Clear? Look at this map carefully. So these are the neighboring countries of Nigeria. Now, what we must know, the capital city of Nigeria is Abuja. Abuja is located somewhere in between of Nigeria. The largest city is Lagos. Okay? Just like India, we have New Delhi as the capital, but one of the largest cities is Mumbai. Similarly, in Nigeria, you have Lagos. See, if you see this map, Lagos is situated somewhere here. Lagos is situated on the coast somewhere here, and Abuja is somewhere here in the center. So in the center, Abuja, you have your capital, and Lagos is the largest city along the coast. This is along the Gulf of Guinea. Okay? And within this, you have Bight of Benin. Now, Gulf is a more enclosed body and a bigger one. Benin is a smaller body and more open, which is a small closure. So this is a more open body within a small size, that is called Benin. Okay? Or you can say Bight. This is called Bight of Benin. Clear? The political system here is Federal Republic. This is the most populous country of Africa with 24 crore population. This you must know. The most populated country of Africa is Nigeria. This is not Ethiopia, this is not Egypt, this is not South Africa, not Kenya, Tanzania. Nigeria is the most populous country of Africa with highest population. I think after this comes your Ethiopia and then Egypt. It is a major oil producing country. A lot of oil resources are there. It is part of OPEC, oil producing and exporting countries. It is also large agriculture sector. Now, one of the major rivers passing through is Niger River, which we will see now, and Benue River, which meets at Lokoja, a city. Okay. If you see this map here, this is the Niger River. This is the Niger River. Okay, this is coming like this, and they both, this is your Benue River. They both are meeting here at your Lokoja. Now, this Niger River finally comes and drains in the Niger Delta in Gulf of Guinea. What you all must also know is that this Niger River originates from Guinea, this country. It goes north first into the Mali, then from there it gets into Niger and then Nigeria, and finally goes into Gulf of Guinea. Fine. So the ethnic groups here are your Hosa Fulani. These are basically your Muslim groups. Then you have Yoruba and Lagbo. These are the major groups. Now there are infighting between these groups. These are Muslim, some are Christian groups. These Muslim and Christian groups are fighting among each other, which led to the death of 26 people. That's why they are in news. Now they were former British colonies. So Nigeria is also part of Commonwealth countries. They gained independence in 1960 after India. Now there are security issues in the form of insurgency by Boko Haram. Boko Haram is the main insurgency group or the terrorist group within entire Africa. Now it has regional importance in the form of it is key player of ECOWAS. ECOWAS is the West African bloc. Basically, ECOWAS represents these countries. It is an economic cooperation, or you can say economic council or organization of West African countries. Basically, just like you have South Asian countries, SAFTA, for trade, a group. You have a group trade bloc within which they regulate their trade together. Clear? So this is regarding Nigeria. What else you can remember here? Look at this Lake Chad. Now this Lake Chad is important. Lake Chad is also important. It is spread across 4 countries. Niger, Nigeria, then you have Chad and Cameroon. This is Cameroon, this is Chad as a country, this is Niger, and this is Nigeria. So this Lake Chad is spread across 4 countries. Clear? So this you must know. You have Chad Basin National Park also in Nigeria. There are small things which you can see. For example, this Nigeria river, Kanji Lake. Kanji Lake is created by this Niger river in between. Okay? So Bight of Benin, you must remember. Bight of Biafra, you must remember. Okay? These small things. So this is how you keep a look at your atlas, and you make sure whatever is coming in the news, you have a look over this. Now, what can be the exam trap say? It is located in East Africa. This is wrong. This is part of West Africa. Capital city is Lagos. This is again wrong. Lagos is one of the major cities. Capital city is not Lagos. Capital city is Abuja. Clear? Then you have, it is a landlocked. We know it has Gulf of Guinea as its coastline. Not an OPEC country. Again, this is wrong. It is part of OPEC member. It is an oil producing country. It was colonized by Britain. Clear? These can be some of the exam traps. Fine. So with this, we come to end to today's analyst video. Make sure you guys write answer for the first two sections, and I'll see you again in the next session. Thank you.